How's it going, YouTubers? This is Iron Fist LMS, once again coming to you from the LMS live stream over at Twitch TV. Now, I do realize I haven't put up any content or videos on the channel in quite some time. In fact, it's been 3 months since I put up my last video, and all I can do to you guys is apologize for that. Now, the reason for that is I actually quit playing Planetside 2 at the beginning of this year in January, and I haven't really been back to the game since then. I've been playing a lot of other games, such as the newly released SimCity, and I've been having a blast recently in the MOBA Smite, which is currently in open beta, so if you guys are looking for something interesting to play, go check that out. Now, the reason I had a look back at Planetside 2 is I actually went onto the Sony website on the forums and I started reading the patch notes that Sony had been putting out. Now, the latest update they did, which is Game Update 6, they introduced some, well, what sounded like really good changes to the game, bringing back some sort of older features of the original game, and it really sounded good to me, so I thought, why not, I'll fire up Planetside 2, patch it up, and go and have a look what it looks like, you know, 3 months on. Now, as I logged in the game, I decided, you know, I do what I do best. I went for some flight runs, some air-to-air combat here, and what I discovered is that the game is, you know, slowly improving. They're bringing in some good features from the original game and getting rid of some of the crappier features of the sequel that really shouldn't have made it into the final release of the product. Now, from what I can tell, and what I've been reading on the forums, what they plan to introduce is they're going to bring back some form of the old lattice system from Planetside 1, which should then concentrate the fighting down into particular places, making the game more fun for everybody. When you have bigger fights in one area, it's always more fun than having all sorts of little fights spread out across the map. So yeah, that's a really good change, and I really hope they implement that into the game. I've seen that Empire-specific launchers have been released, so that's the Lancer, the Striker, and the Phoenix. I haven't actually had a chance to try them out, but I will, and I'll probably put up a video about them on the channel as well. Now, the first thing I did notice as I was flying around killing aircraft is that they've massively increased the XP you gain for killing vehicles, which I think is a really good change because, as we all know, you know, vehicles can rack up a lot of kills, and the old system where you got 100 XP for killing an enemy aircraft, you know, it didn't seem like that much of a reward for the work that you put in. So I've noticed that my XP per hour has gone through the roof, and all I've been doing is dogfighting, not even killing ground targets. So I think that's really good and a fair change, especially for us air-to-air pilots. Now, what you can also see in the video in the top right hand corner is the timed events that they've been doing. That's brand new with Game Update 6, and these time events basically allow people to all congregate in the same area and have a massive fight. Now, they encourage players to go and capture a particular continent or a particular objective all at the same time, rewarding people with things like XP bonuses and various other things. Now, again, this is kind of like the old lattice system from Planetside 1. It encourages the fighting to be concentrated in one particular area. Now, this just generally makes the fights much better, much more enjoyable, and they actually last longer, which was one of my biggest complaints about the fights so far in Planetside 2, is that they don't last long enough. It's not like the great sieges of the interlink facilities that you had in Planetside 1. You know, you could attack a base and within 10 minutes you've taken it. You clear them out the spawns and it's done. Whereas in Planetside 1, if you really wanted a tower or a base that was being heavily defended, you could spend hours fighting there, which is, you know, some of the most enjoyable times I had in the original game is, you know, clinging on to the last moment at a interlink defense until the resources ran out. So again, another good change. And from what I've seen, the player base is actually following these events from what I've seen so far. As soon as a continent objective is announced, that continent gets quickly filled up with players, and the queue is put up there. Now, this brings me on to a small complaint that I've had, that it seems like every time there's an event, there seems to be a massive queue to get onto the continent. Now, I understand that Sony have to put player caps or, you know, limits on the amounts of players that they can have on a continent at any one point in time. But I don't know whether this could be true, but I've heard rumors that they actually lowered the limit of the amount of players it takes till the server gets capped and you have to start waiting in the queue. Now, as I was playing yesterday, I actually tried to follow one of these events and go to Amarish. Now, I was quickly met with, I think, around 100 player queue to get onto the continent, and because I'm not currently a member, it took me around 55 minutes to get onto the continent. Now, for a new player that's coming into the game that really wants to experience the big battles, I think that can be really off-putting. Having to wait in a queue for 55 minutes or be encouraged to pay, you know, a $15 a month membership, which, according to my friends who do have the membership currently, it even still takes a while with the membership. They're having to wait, you know, 15 minutes to get into an event. So I think SOE definitely need to do something about that, perhaps increase the continent capacity when they have one of these special events on. Because, as I say, I think as a new player coming into the game, it can be a bit annoying having to wait, you know, almost an hour to get into the action. So SOE should probably have a look into that and see if they can increase the capacity on the continent that is having, you know, a special event at that particular point in time. Now, from what I've also seen, they've introduced some special ribbon bonuses when you get a particular amount of kills, or when you heal a particular amount in game, or repair a particular amount, and that just seems like a bit of a rip-off from Battlefield, but I think the system works. It gives you XP bonuses when you get, you know, let's say 15 kills in a row with a particular weapon, and I think it's a good way of rewarding people for playing continually, and it allows you to build up your level and XP that much faster, and of course your cert points as well, which is based off your XP. Now, the main thing that I've noticed while flying, any changes to flying, is the fact that since I've last played anyway, the rotary cannons have been changed. Now, I'm not really sure why they changed the rotary cannons, because I think they were pretty well balanced before. But from what I've read in the patch notes and what I've experienced in game, they've actually decreased the velocity of the projectiles, so the actual shots are moving slower in the air. Now, they have compensated for that by making the magazine size, etc. bigger, so I actually really like the new NC Vortex cannon, the rotary cannon. I think it's really good. It takes a little bit of getting used to, having to lead your shots that much more because of the slower velocity, but I really like it, and I'm having a lot of fun raping other aircraft with it in game, as you can see. In this video, I've actually been running my standard air-to-air loadout, which features the maxed out air stealth, vehicle stealth upgrade, which basically prevents me from being seen on radar, and also adds a 3/4 of a second extra time for people to be able to lock onto me with air-to-air missiles or ground-based missiles, which can really be a lifesaver. It doesn't sound like, you know, a large amount of time, 3/4 of a second, but it does make that difference in game. Now, of course, the main benefit to using that is not being seen on radar. You can literally sneak up behind people if they don't really know what they're doing. Now, it is a bit harder to do this on the Reaver since it is the loudest aircraft, and you can usually hear it if you've got your sound turned up from, you know, a mile away before it's even rendered. You tend to hear the Reaver before you can see it, so yeah. A little bit of a tip for these pilots that I might have killed in game: turn your sound up, because it can really help you hear me coming. Now, another thing that I've noticed is there is actually much less missile spam and air-to-air, you know, lock-on spam. When I quit playing, there was so much of that going on. You couldn't get into any kind of a dogfight without getting locked on by like 20 people. Now, they appear to have balanced these rockets out by increasing their lock-on time, so I think they've made a really good change, and I don't actually see them in game that much, which is how it should be, you know. If people want to run those rockets exclusively, then they should be punished for doing it. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun flying around without having to suffer from constant missile lock-on spam. I did notice a couple of glitches with the TR Striker lock-on rocket. It wasn't giving me a lock-on warning, and if it did, I would flare it and the rockets would still hit me. So I'm not sure whether that's a known bug, but that's definitely what I've experienced in game. Now I'm going to move on to the server merges that SOE put in. This might be old news for some of you, but this is new news for me. I think that's really a good thing for them to do. They have to kind of swallow their pride and admit that the game isn't quite as popular as it was upon release, which is fairly normal for a free-to-play game like this anyway, because people will join up, try it upon release, and then only the people that, you know, really enjoy the game will stick around. So I think they've done a good thing merging the servers and keeping the action together. It took the Planetside 1 dev team a long time to do it as well, to decide to merge the servers, but when they did, everyone was really happy with it, so I think that's a plus point on SOE's half. Now, another new feature which they've added to the game recently that's been taken from the original game is the VR training area. Now this allows you to try out all the weapons and the vehicles as well in a environment that doesn't cost you any resources, cooldowns or anything like that, which is fantastic news for you pilots that are just starting out in the air and need some practice. Now you can go in there, fly to your heart's content, crash your aircraft as many times as you like, and it's not going to cost you any resources or start any timers for you. So if you want to learn how to fly, that is now the best place to do it. What's more, you're not going to be crashing into any friendlies in the warp gate when you're trying to practice the reverse maneuver. So thumbs up SOE once again. Now I see that they've also introduced the beta of the player stats page, which is also good news. It's always fun looking back through your kill logs, seeing who you've killed the most, who kills you the most. It kind of, you know, produces that rivalry in game when you see an enemy or a friend or an ally that's killed you a lot of times, and it really just adds a little bit more excitement into the game, as well as the leaderboards as well. Everyone likes, you know, measuring up, see how they're doing against other players. Now to bring myself onto the negative points that I've seen from the game in my playtime yesterday, there definitely seems like less players on the server. The servers do not seem as populated as they were, excluding the timed events on continents. This is, you know, I guess this is normal. Player base drops off after release of a free-to-play game, but SOE really need to make sure that that player base doesn't drop anymore. Otherwise, they're gonna, you know, end up losing existing customers when the fights become too small to be fun. And another big complaint that I've seen and heard from everybody in my outfit, as well as a lot of other players, is the QA on the new patches absolutely sucks. They've been putting out patches in completely unfinished states, or they've been breaking the game with these new patches. I've heard from people that they've been having FPS problems, lag problems, you know, teleporting problems in game. People have been jumping around, rubber banding. And I think SOE really need to QA their patches a bit better before they put them out on the live server. Now somebody did tell me they've been putting up a sort of dev server, you know, a public test server or something like that, which is good news that they can actually test out these patches before they throw them up on the live server. So that just about concludes the various changes that SOE have put into the game since I've last played. If you have any of your own sort of comments or opinions, then don't forget to leave them in the comments below. I do try to read every comment that you guys send me. I may not be able to reply because I do get an awful lot of comments, but I definitely try to read them all. So go ahead and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I also hope you guys enjoyed the video clip that was playing in the background here. It was actually a 21 kill air-to-air streak in a Reaver using nothing but the Vortex cannon. So if you're not doing so already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am definitely going to be trying to put up more regular content onto the channel. It may not be exclusively Planetside 2 this time around. I may want to throw up some Smite videos or something along those lines, but I promise you guys I'm going to be getting some more Planetside 2 videos out there. Now, like I said, if you do have any comments or opinions on the video, don't forget to leave them below. And I'm going to say thank you all very much for watching, and take care. I'll catch you next time.